As soon as men and women were put into positions to compete at work, in relationships, economically, politically. I mean, as soon as we were put into positions to compete, or we were told that, we're equal, we are just as capable and just as able as men to do just about anything, as soon as it happened, chivalry died. And here's the thing, like, we can't act like there weren't a lot of feminists out there who were making it very clear that chivalry is patriarchal. Chivalry is essentially assuming that woman is a weaker vessel and that she has to be catered to because she's lesser than. And so all of those things, I mean, that's that's what was being said. Like, we can't deny that. And so now, fast forward decades later, and really in a post-feminist era where a lot of the things that we were fighting for have indeed been accepted. That has obviously impacted the dating and mating market. And we can't, in one breath, say that we are equal and we want to be partners and we want to be equivalent all across the board. And then, on another token, say that we're upset that guys aren't necessarily opening doors for us anymore, or that it seems like guys aren't just necessarily paying, or they're not even checking for us like they used to. Like, a lot of those things changed as soon as we were put into positions to compete. And I think this is the tension, honestly, that a lot of people are feeling in the dating and mating market, where there was so much confusion and, quite frankly, um, a lot of complications around how men and women should even interact with each other. Not to mention, we do live in an era where there's also guys who are legitimately afraid of, if they actually approach a woman that they find attractive and she thinks he's unattractive, she could at any moment say that he's harassing her and he could be at risk for being, taking advantage of her. So I mean, there's just all these complications that have happened at the end of the day, now that we are very much in an era of there being a gender war, and very much in an era where men and women have been told that they are equal all across the board. And what that in essence means is that chivalry, quite frankly, is dead.
Welcome back to the CWC podcast. Welcome back, everybody. We appreciate you joining us once again on another night of recording. And got a very interesting topic for you guys. We appreciate everybody who tuned into the last video. We got very good traction with that one. I think we're up to 125 subscribers now. So let me find my cheer. I always have a problem finding my cheer every time I look down on my board.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank
Two
you.
cheers. So we're up to 125 subscribers. Thank you all once again. Like I said, every time you watch a video, leave a comment, any of those things, it helps us out tremendously. So we appreciate that. And now, with that being said, let's get into tonight's topic. Tonight's topic, very interesting. I don't even know if I can use the term, but I'm going to do it anyway because I don't think my channel is big enough for them to shut me down. But I've been told that simping is a word that I don't know that you can necessarily still freely use. It apparently offends.
What? Oh,
It started to offend folks. So when something starts to trend or
who
something
does
like
it
that.
offend? The boys or the girls?
Both,
Oh,
both, and we'll explain why as we get into tonight's topic. So tonight's topic, what is it? So what the topic is: simping versus chivalry. The programming is real. Now, let me explain what that means. So, first of all, what is chivalry? Chivalry is, by definition, now this is a truncated version of the actual dictionary definition, but chivalry is the combination of qualities expected of an ideal knight, medieval times, especially courage, honor, courtesy, justice, and a readiness to help the weak. The reason I read that out is because it can be interpreted several ways. The thing I keyed in on was weak.
I was going to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So because what it assumes.
Are they taking offense to that definition?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the precipice of feminism is okay, everybody's heard it. It was I think it was Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle both spoke on it, but they both said, chivalry's dead and women killed it. As a matter of fact, the clip that you saw at the beginning, the girl said just that. I thought the girl was spot on with what I think that was a very honest, very clean take on. What did you think?
Well, I've been saying it for past few episodes that they're pinning men and women against each other on purpose. It's all by design. They want us to compete, and with competition, that makes the man feel less useful. And in that, I think he becomes spiteful, right? And then he stops doing things for the woman because if you've got it covered, honey, knock yourself out. Is
Yeah.
that what it is?
Yes. So let me give you the male take, and I want to read to you my bullet points that I made for tonight because I think it kind of helps us flow with the topic. So, simping. Simping has become a very popular word, especially in social media. In the manosphere, you also hear me say that all the time. All that really means is that it's a social media following of like-minded people, that are interested in a topic of, something like this. Um, the question is, simping. Is it just taboo to be friendly to women at this point? Because I think that that's what has kind of happened is that guys are now afraid to even be nice to you
We're
because
being called a name like you're a simp.
we're going to be called a simp either by, it's a two-pronged attack, either from the manosphere or from the women themselves, because there's a whole bunch of TikTok videos where there's, women out there that are openly bragging. Like they show texts and things from what guys have sent to them, and they're showing these things, talk about, oh, look, he already simping for me. Look at this girl, he already simping. So guys are now afraid to even show you that they like you, right?
Yeah, well, I've been saying it. The biggest problem is, well, you've been saying it, but I agree with you. We talk too much, and we tell everything. I mean, everything is on TikTok for the men to figure out or find out and become bitter about and do less for women for.
Yeah.
We're just telling them that we're using you. Look how easily I got him. Now he's doing all this. He's jumping through fiery hoops for me. And then you call him names like simps. And it's a phrase that's running rampant.
And I just read to you the definition of chivalry. So this is what men are doing. Like we're programmed. I know it's hard for a lot of women to understand this, but we're genetically wired this way, right? So we want to help women. Like we want to be the rock for our women. We want to build the bridges for you. They just told you this, right?
Yeah.
So we want to do these things. So now what men are doing is we're saying, okay, now we have to take a step back because we're being put to shame, either, like I said, either in the manosphere, because we get it, they get it from the men. I mean, how do I know this? Because I've told people story about how my marriage was structured. I was married to the woman. And I've had people, well, that's where you simping right there. See, you was simping too much, man. What you say? See, you was simping that. And I'm sitting there, but I was married. What is this guy talking about?
Do not.
What are you talking about? I don't understand.
This is where I get confused. How are you simping for the person you're in a relationship with or a person that you're married to? To me, that is love and respect, and it shouldn't be labeled. If you're in a relationship with somebody, you do it for each other. Is the woman a simp because she cooks him dinner and does all of these things for him?
A lot of feminists will be mad at you for cooking for your man. Like they'll be mad at you for that. He can cook. He got two hands. What you got to cook for?
See, it is a competition.
It's a competition.
The manosphere is telling the men not to do this, not to do that. And feminism is telling women, you don't need him to do this and do that.
Yeah.
You can do it all yourself.
Right.
Yes, I can. But do I really want to?
I said it in one of the earlier shows. It's like they've convinced women to make their lives voluntarily more difficult.
Yes.
Like that's exactly what feminism has done. It's told you, okay, you know what? Yes, you can do all of these things, which again, yes, you can. If you want to hear us say it, we'll say it a million times. Yes, you're capable of doing all of these things. Do you want to do all of these things? Listen, I'm an old school guy. I'm a classic man. I say it on every show. I'm a classic man, right? So me, it's in my nature to treat women a certain way because that's the way that I was raised. I believe that like you treat especially if it's a woman that you're interested in and you're courting this woman, you're kind of treating her like you would treat your mother. Is the way that I see it. You would open the door. Yes, you would pull the chair. Yes, you would let her order first. Things like that. Now, I know that this is completely foreign to a lot of y'all that are listening. It doesn't make any sense. They're sitting there like, what's wrong with him? Is this what he was doing to women? No wonder he wasn't successful.
Yeah, but you were just saying too, the feminists are telling you, why are you cooking for him? Why are you doing those things for him? He could do it himself. Because she wants to. And she knows, I mean, the saying, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach, is not just a saying. It really is. Like, if you can give him what he needs, give him something really good to eat, and give him some peace, he should be happy.
Yeah.
He should be
and
happy.
He will be.
It's really simple. Guys, I don't really think guys are that hard to figure out.
How many? Okay, now you just now recently started. I had to convince her of this. She wasn't saying this before we started the podcast. I convinced her of this during the podcast. That men are not as complicated as the feminist movement has made us out to be. You're giving us way too much credit. Now we'll take the credit if you want to give it to us, but we ain't going as deep as y'all think.
No,
it's like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I sit here and listen to these women sometimes. I'm like, what are they even talking about?
I've always thought that guys were fairly easy. They don't really, to me, I don't think they ask for too much. They're pretty simple.
Yeah. Basic.
As what I think. I think that feminism has, and other topics, other programming topics and mechanisms, has made it complicated. Yeah. It's really not complicated. And there's all these playbooks being thrown out here for people to follow, and people don't know who they are anymore.
Yep.
And they're following somebody else's life.
Yep.
And it's become a mess instead of trusting your own guidance system. I mean, maybe you don't trust yourself.
Because this is all social media, though. Because what happens is, like, people are terrified, right, to actually follow their own playbook, because they're looking at it like, okay, well, and they're always wondering, okay, well, what are people going to think? Like, like if I, what are people, and they're worried about people thinking, oh, their judgment is. So people are just on eggshells for no reason. Again, none of this impacts me, by the way. I always say this every time. I want to qualify that. None of this impacts me. None of it. Now, except, now, granted, the chivalry thing, listen, that's just how I'm going to be. So any woman that I'm around in any capacity, I'm going to be that way. Most of the time, but guess what I found? 9 out of 10 of those women want to be treated that way. They don't believe in this feminist mantra BS. They don't believe it. They may say that they do for social media purposes. Like, they may say that they may go along with the likes and the follows of a specific agenda because that's the overwhelming agenda at the time. And you know how women get in herds and follow let's jump on this particular agenda and this particular bandwagon and get all the women riled up and following in one direction.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, most of them don't agree with what they're talking about. They don't agree. They're just going along with the group. Really, they're like, I've had women tell me, it's like, yeah, I don't. Yeah, at the end of the
day, or they
think
that that's what they want, and they're following somebody else's playbook, an ism that has told them this is the way you're supposed to live. Because a lot of the isms have turned into religions, and people just blindly follow them. Yeah. And then when they see that it's not what they signed up for, their life is harder. They have more responsibilities than they would have if they did it their way.
Yeah.
The guy has got bad advice from the manosphere, in my opinion, and the women are getting bad advice all around, not just from feminism.
I mean, bad advice. I mean, just look at TikTok. I mean, just go to TikTok. Listen, guys, I'm learning along with y'all. I had to learn all this stuff. Like, when I went to TikTok and started just seeing the amount of stuff that was out there, I was like, okay, this is reality. This is what's going on. And it's part of the reason why I started the podcast. I was like, man, there's a lot to be said here. Like, there's a lot going on out here that a lot of you guys are struggling with right now. Like I said, there's a lot of guys that might be my age, that are out here, and we only know how to treat women like one specific way. So now we're being told you have to start doing this now, because you can't be a gentleman anymore to modern Western women. Let me say that specifically. This is why the passport bros have started going overseas, because of all these things we're talking about. They've decided that, listen, for the amount of friction that I'm going to have to deal with here, forget it. It's not worth it.
Doesn't it go against your grain, like your instinct? Doesn't a man, he wants to, does he want to be chivalrous? Does he want to do that?
Yes, absolutely. but you're forcing us not to be. So that's why these younger guys, I feel real bad for them. They have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
The younger guys have no idea, because if you go listen to a lot of these manosphere channels, and I'm a fan of a lot of these guys, but I'm also in my mid 40s. I think about it from the guys who are in their mid 20s. Think about how dumb I was in my mid 20s, or you were in your mid 20s. And now these young kids are being bombarded with this much information. And what do you expect them to do?
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. They're like, well,
I guess I'll stop opening doors and make her pay half, even if I
yes.
like her.
That's why you see the videos of the girl that you showed me that was frustrated because she went out to eat with the guy. Now, normally, the man, his wallet would have been falling out of his pocket because he's been saving the money all this time specifically to take her out. That's how we used to be.
And now he's following a playbook that is outside of his norm, and he's doing what he's been told to do, and it's disastrous for him. Now the girl that he liked doesn't want to go out with him anymore, doesn't want to call him. And I see this going to be something that's happening at as a snowball going down the hill, getting bigger and bigger. It's going to make it harder for these young guys that don't know what they're doing. They could use a good teacher, and they're listening to the manosphere, which is it's a negative, primarily a negative platform, telling men to dog women and to treat them like the strong woman that she claims herself to being. And that's another problem with the programming. They keep programming women. You got to be strong. You got to be this. You got to be so headstrong. You don't need him. And with that strength comes combative behavior. A woman that is disagreeable. She's always challenging you because she doesn't believe you. She doesn't trust you because she's so strong. She has all the answers. And it's a competition of not only, the brains, but the brawn and the money and everything. And now you're emasculating him. What does he have left if he can't hold the door open for you and he can't help you with things because you've got it? Then
what at that point, I mean, and then at that point, I agree with what women are saying. Then what do you need the man for? Look, I mean, if you're just literally just going to make his life miserable, like you won't allow him to be your man or your husband or whatever. I mean, again, my thought of serious relationships is totally different than the modern stuff anyway, because like there's none of it makes sense to me. But I'm just saying, by and large, and we're going to go to the next bullet point because that brings me to the next topic. Okay, part of what we're saying, and I believe this, it goes both ways. So, and we're talking about young kids here. So I'm going to double back to that. What I think is happening is that the young men are being taught to be a-holes to the women because they've been told that, listen, all the guys that are my age and older are saying, hey, look, nice guys finish last. We were the nice guys. It didn't work out for us. All of the guys that were the bad boys were the ones that got all the action, got all the girls, had all the fun. We were the ones being dumped on and taken advantage of. So don't be us, right? So now this next generation is saying, okay, we're going to listen to you. So they're saying, okay, now we're all going to be a-holes and bad boys, right? It's what worked before. Why wouldn't it work now? Right? And almost to a woman, everyone I talk to, they always say, oh yeah, we always like the bad boys up until we're like 30 and then we don't want them anymore.
Yeah, I told you it's age appropriate behavior. She's young. She's wild. She wants somebody that's going to probably keep her on her toes. And then once she wore that phase of life out, because it is a phase, guys. I know the manosphere likes to crucify women for being the one that chooses the bad boy. And then she gets some miles under her belt and then decides she doesn't want the bad boy anymore. So they're like what?
Well, yeah, you didn't want me before.
Yeah.
But now I'm good enough for you now. And you got to understand that. You got to understand that. They're looking at like, look, I would have been the perfect boyfriend for you, but you wanted all of these guys. So now that you've been pumped and dumped by all these different guys, now you're ready to come back to the negotiating table with me. It's too late. And that's what the guys are saying now. We don't want you anymore. We're on to the game. We know how it works. Thank you for the information.
They are onto the game because
That's
women
exactly,
have told everything.
It's out there now. It's out there.
And that's why they form these groups like the manosphere and using words like simp.
Yeah.
They're the ones that brought it up.
Absolutely. Look how big this movement has gotten. I mean, we're a tiny channel, but I mean, there are channels with millions of followers, hundreds of thousands of talking about these same topics. And by me listening to this stuff, I believe what is happening is, that's why I put in the title, the programming is real. Because social media, big tech, all these different media, mainstream media, if you're watching that, you're really in trouble. But so the men are being designed or programmed to do that. The young ladies, because they have nothing to pick from now and they're having to settle for nothing but bad boys now, they're getting fed up with that faster. So they're starting to say, man, this is... And then that's why you saw the young lady. Well, where's all the good guys? Where's the nice guys? Like,
so then they have to settle.
Yeah.
So they're settling now.
So now they have to say to themselves, okay, do I want to wade in the pool where I know what's going to happen? Like, I know what's going to happen if I get in here. I'm going to be dealing with these guys. I'm going to be dealing with bums. Ladies, y'all know how y'all do. Y'all know the dude's a bum. You still deal with him. He got 2 and 3 and 4 baby mamas in them. And y'all still will deal with the guy. We get it. It's we call it shiny object syndrome. We don't know why, but we get it. So we understand. So you guys do that, right? But now you're conditioned to being treated poorly because it's the only way you've ever been treated.
Right.
You haven't even had a chance to get with a gentleman yet because all of these guys in your age bracket are all a-holes. So you've been dealing with nothing but a-holes. So you don't even know how. That's what I think is the problem with the younger girls. They don't even know how to be treated like a lady. Like if you started treating them like a lady, that's why they go online and say, oh, look, he's simping. Look at this.
Oh, he's simping for me because he's being nice to her. And she's been treated like crap for so long that the nice guy is automatically a simp. He doesn't necessarily have to be a beta.
Right.
A beta doesn't have to be a simp.
No.
Okay.
And that's where people get it confused. Like even in the manosphere, I argue with guys about this. I believe you can be a perfect gentleman to a woman, and that doesn't make you a simp. I believe that, like, if I just say it's a young lady, I don't want anything to do with her, right? She's a coworker, whatever, right?
Right.
We go to lunch. Me picking up the tab is just a gentleman thing that I would do.
It doesn't make
it doesn't mean that I'm simping for her, guys. That's what frustrates me with the manosphere, because you think anything that you do nice for the lady automatically means that you're a simp. That's not how. I wish you would stop telling guys this.
Yeah.
That's why you have guys trying to split the coffee bill. That's why.
I personally, I know gentlemen. I hang out with gentlemen, and I'm not dating anyone. I'm not exclusive. I don't do those. I'm not dating. Like I go out with people, but it's not like we're seeing each other.
Yeah.
But they're gentlemen. They pick up the tab. I mean,
wow.
Otherwise, I don't really have to go. I mean, I just
makes sense to me.
You want me out of my house, hanging out with you, someplace out of my comfort zone, because I'm someone that's quite comfortable now in my hermit phase at home. I'm not hurt by spending time with myself. I enjoy it. So if you want to pull me outside of my home and into your environment and into your space, then, I mean, isn't it assumed that the guy's going to pick up
for
the tab
the women
and be
your
a gentleman
age that are listening? This to the women that are your age listening, in our age range listening, yes, all of this makes perfect sense to them. They're all saying, yeah. It's the younger girls that are sitting there like, what are they talking about? What do they mean? Because you haven't even experienced it. You have no, and that's why I feel bad for these younger girls, because I hear these stories from girls. I hear the younger girls. I hear them telling me, and I'm sitting there looking at it like, he did what? It's shocking to me. Like, some of the stuff is flat. I'm sitting there like, he did. I don't even know what to say. Because I told you, I went on a date with a lady that I knew the moment we got to the restaurant, it wasn't going to work out. She wasn't my type. You know how that happens, right? Yeah. But guess what? I paid for the meal anyway.
It's on your simping.
Now I know. Right now,
Why?
I know. Right now, there's a whole.
You should have asked that woman for her
that's where you messed up.
$30.
See, man, that's why. See, you be saying now she's gonna think she can go with the next guy and get it.
Not necessarily.
So what?
She just knows she happened to have met a nice guy. It
care.
obviously didn't work out, but you were a nice guy.
I think people are overthinking this stuff. Is my point. People are way overthinking it.
Yeah.
I believe if we get back to the basics of if you like the girl, guys, I'm speaking to you now. If you like the chick, let her know. Ask her out, whatever the case may be. And guess what? You're going to know, or you should be able to decipher whether she's interested or not based on her response.
Yeah.
If anything, get better at understanding or identifying those things. Like, okay, she's not interested. I mean, it happens. Even the best players out here, these guys selling courses, these guys, I laugh at anybody buying these courses. But there's guys selling courses. They'll tell you in the course, their success rate with women is about the top. I'm talking about the top guys. They get 2 out of about 8 women.
Mm-hmm.
The top guy.
Mm-hmm.
That we always talk about Chads and Tyrones. Those guys, they don't score on all of them either.
Yeah.
So listen. Don't be afraid to fail. You may ask her out. She may not be interested. It's fine.
It's okay.
It's okay.
There's a lot of us. There's more of us than there are of you.
Yeah, man. It's okay, man.
Try again.
So that was basically what I was, as far as the bullet points, that's what I wanted to cover. Yeah. Is that, and one thing about the young ladies that I did want to cover, one more thing was that, and this kind of rings true to both male and female, but a lot of these young girls, and even some of the young girls in our age group, their mothers basically went through the same things. Their mothers were dealing with bums too. And they saw their mothers bringing different bums in and out of the house.
Generational curse.
Yeah.
So she repeats it.
They're conditioned to think that, well, my mom was doing it. So
it's normal.
It is like dealing cards. One of I'll get the ace here shortly if I keep going through them, right? So that's what happens to a lot of these. So everything is very disposable. It's like, I try another one. Especially in the era now of social media, where these women have access to excess, and at their fingertips, there's men from all over the world that could potentially be interested in them. It opens up a world of opportunity. So it's kind of hard to, I guess, for the guy to even figure out, okay, how do I compete? Especially if I can't be a gentleman. Like, what do I do then? Do I just stand there? What do you even do? Like, you don't even know what to do now because, okay, I can't be nice to her because she's going to make fun of me. And the manosphere is going to make fun of me if I open the door. And I can't take, I got to tell her to pay half.
There's too many rules.
There's too much stuff to think about. What are we overcomplicating this stuff?
There's too many rules. I don't understand.
Again, none of this stuff impacts me.
Or me.
Or you. That's why we can laugh about it, because I'd be frustrated. Like, God, I'll be honest. If I was out here trying to date like you got, I'd be very frustrated. I'd be like, what am I supposed to do? Like, now I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. So we're trying to get to the bottom of it. We want to understand. Ladies, how come we can't be nice to you anymore? Why?
I think the women are now doubling back. And they're actually asking the men, come back now.
Oh, yeah, they are.
We're sorry.
Yeah.
We took it overcorrection. Yeah. We took it too far. Not every one of us is like those chicks. Like, please don't put me in a pot with them, because one of the things Manosphere likes to say is you women. We're speaking in generalities, but you women don't know how to do this. You women all do that. You all. And it's not fair to the ones that don't believe that way, that aren't behaving that way, and are willing to work in a symbiotic relationship where someone else would look in on it and say, oh, she's being submissive, as if being submissive is a horrible, horrible thing. Yeah. Like, how dare you be submissive to your man? If he's the man that you want and he's the man that you love, and you guys, to me, it's a partnership. It's a give and take. And there's something biblical about it. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have an opinion and you're just a wallflower, but the problem that one of the things I was sharing at work was she was like, well, I think that these men just want you to be submissive and not say anything. And I said, well, the consensus is that women have become combative and argumentative and standoffish and claiming and taking the stance that I can do everything that you can do. I believe that we can, but do you really want to? Like 100%. I know I personally don't want to dig ditches. I don't want to build buildings. I don't want to do plumbing. I don't want to do the electrical. I don't want to mow the grass. Like there are things that I just really don't want to do. And I think that that's the give and take. There's things that I do very, very well inside.
They don't want to do this stuff either.
I don't think so.
They don't want to do it. It's just a talking point that is really all it is. Is in reality, most staunch feminists are unattractive women. Unfortunately,
you're going to get in trouble for saying that.
No, I mean most staunch feminists. Absolutely, go look them up. I mean, just go take a look at the most vocal ones that are out there, the ones that are organizing groups, the ones that go after women like just for early things. Like she has a group of feminists. Like there's an angry mob of feminists that follow her around on all of her social media, and they all day long they go at her. Like they're so mad at her.
I told you about women at the core. If a woman is mad at another woman that she doesn't know, at the core, it is jealousy of some sort. She is jealous of maybe her freedom, maybe her lifestyle, maybe her looks. Whatever.
All of the above.
Yeah, there's something that
she's married to. She's got a wonderful husband who she loves. They're mad at her for that
because she's happy and in love, and she treats her husband in a way that they wouldn't. But
that's the thing.
That's okay.
That's the thing, right? Like with feminists, that they'll be mad at you for how you are treating your husband. Like they will literally get mad at you. Yeah. Why are you doing that for him? Because it's my husband.
Because that's what she wants to do with her husband. Wow, that they are literally, mad about it. You shouldn't be doing that.
You've never been treated nicely in your life, babe. Like that's what I think.
That's the whole misery loves company.
That's what I think.
I don't think those women are very happy. I mean, if you're trying to do everything yourself, how could you be? It's very stressful. We're already stressed out, ladies. Don't we have enough to do? Honestly,
we think so.
I feel like I have enough to do. I don't want to do it all.
Men agree.
I can. I'm a single mom. I do a lot of things. Basically everything on my own. If I can't, I hire someone or I ask a big strong man to help me. But I don't want to.
Makes sense to me. Sounds logical. I think. I mean, and the young ladies, if you're listening, for the younger audience, listen. You don't make your life voluntarily more difficult. Like, don't compete with your man. What I'm saying is to raise your standard now. Don't wait until you're into your 30s and 40s before you start to demand to be treated like a lady. That's my whole point.
That's the
all
solution.
I'm saying.
That's your solution.
Demand it now. Like, don't go through 78 bad boys before you decide. There's no need to go through all of that. Yeah. That raise your standard now. That would be my advice to young ladies. I'll say it a million times. It isn't that your standard is too high. It's that it's too low.
And we raise our standard.
And then it gets too high by the time you get older, because now you want to say, oh, well, now I'm there. But
because we've learned, because we've learned our lessons, and now it's time to ask for more for yourself. Well, I'm not going to do that anymore, because when you learn better, you do better. And sometimes it takes people longer to learn than others. There is a very small percentage of women that do have that respect and have the bar raised for themselves quite high at a young age. Those young ladies, I'm just floored by. And
those young ladies usually have strong 2-parent households most of the time. That's the key.
With very positive parents that supported them, and there was minimal to no child trauma and all of those things.
Yes, strong 2-parent households. That's the key. That's the key to societies, but that's a whole nother show. I mean, And there's a whole agenda to which feminism has become that. They want to break up the nuclear family. I mean, we already know this. They don't, ultimately, they don't want any men in the house. That's literally the plan at the end of the day, because if we can get all of the men isolated, get the women by themselves, now we can really wreck society, because there's not going to be any barriers there. There's not going to be a man there to say, wait, that doesn't make sense. Hold up.
And hopefully that's what is the ending to all this, that brings it back around. Hopefully with everybody telling all of their business on social media, letting the cats out of the bag and failing. Hopefully, usually things come full circle, right?
Yep.
So hopefully this will bring everybody full circle, and they'll decide, man, we're really just all damaging each other.
Yeah.
The manosphere and the feminism is pinning the sexes against each other, and people are competing, and they're not happy because they're outside of their roles.
Yep. Absolutely. Your natural order of things. That's what they're trying to break, is the natural order. It's like, can we screw it up? Let's screw it up. Let's screw it up. We don't they want to break the natural order. I mean, they're telling you this stuff. They're being honest. They're not hiding it.
And they can. They just have to keep saying it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you're listening, that's all you have to do is just be listening. People are very easily manipulated, very easily programmed. Their minds easily changed by the amount of people, or if you want to be a part of a group, people desire to be a part of a group.
Yep.
Nobody wants to be left out.
Strength in numbers.
Yeah. So if you find a group that you resonate with, then maybe I'm supposed to think like them.
Right.
Maybe I'm supposed to be like these guys.
And that's and that's why I say that's one of the dangers, or can be one of the dangers of the manosphere, if you don't understand how to interpret the information. Because it can, when you're young, I don't expect you to understand how to interpret the information. We shouldn't be expecting these kids to understand.
And that's one of the problems I was telling you, is that these guys are young.
Yeah.
They're too young. They don't have any life experience, and therefore they don't have any discernment. They can't discern the information. How do you know how to take from what is good and from what is bad? You don't know anything yet. And I think it's going to eventually, and long term, we're going to see how that plays out, and it's not going to be positive.
It's already, having a terrible effect on society. But, like I said, that's also part of the plan. So anyway, we're up against time. We're going to wrap up. Let us know what you think. Chivalry versus simping. It's a fine line, or is it not that fine? Or are we just overcomplicating it? Let us know what you think in the comments. I think it's a very interesting topic. We'll probably do a follow-up on it, because I'd like to get some I actually have a young guest in mind that I would like to bring on, because he's the one who told me over the weekend. He was showing me, text messages of that another girl took screenshots of another guy's text and sent them to him.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So it's so he said, man, he said, these girls be out here, man. They be out here showing you everything. They be showing you, saying he's simping and all that. So it's dangerous out there. It's dangerous. So let us know what you think. Like and subscribe to the channel. Once again, we appreciate everybody for joining us. Anything you want to say?
Well, I don't know.
It's a lot to digest on the show. A lot to digest.
The whole simping thing always confused me, because how come you're not allowed to be nice to her? And I know now. I saw those bitches on TikTok. They were not nice girls.
There you go. There you go. That's why.
That's why.
It's treacherous out there.
Stop being a bitch.
Yeah. We hope you had a good time, as we did. And we'll do follow-ups on this. I think it's a good topic. It's good to draw a lot
I think we just scratched the surface.
No, there's plenty to unpack here, and we'd like to get, like I said, more feedback. We're going to have some guests on the show coming up in the next few weeks. We'll keep it going. Let us know what you think. Thank you for joining us once again. We're out. See you next time.